Hello, and welcome back to the second half of the show. That's like 120 seconds. All right, so I got the studio mode. Okay, so everything on the right side of when you do I was using studio mode, and when you do studio mode, everything it double screens everything, but everything on the right side is the screen that's actually live, and the left side is the backup screen. Okay. I think we're good. All right. Sponsored by Nintendo. Not sponsored by Nintendo, but if anybody wants to let Nintendo know and see if they want to sponsor me, we're all for it. Flyers. Ew. Hey. Yeah, the right screen is live. The left screen is the left screen is basically the other screen, so you can decide what it is, and then there's a transition button. This sounds very high quality for a song from the SNES. All right. So what we normally do here is the viewer topics, which we are going to do viewer topics. So if you guys have a viewer topic, I definitely want to hear what you have to say, what you have to ask. It's also a Q&A. So if you have any just regular questions, you go right ahead. The difference is that last week we added an element of game cleaning. So what I do is I go through my collection and I clean some of my games out, like I open them up and I take a look inside and I alcohol the connections and everything like that. It's probably not super interesting, but I like doing it. Plus, I get to go through my collection. I have a quick one about Spyro HD. All right, first game for today is going to be Chrono Trigger. Woo! Quality game, high quality game. Absolutely recommend this game. If you have never played it before, I would absolutely recommend you go out. There's a dozen ways to play it, I think. Some of them are actually really good, and some of them are the one on Steam. So yeah, I just go through, and then I clean everything out. I have the manual for it. I forgot the trilogy was a lie. I have the map for it. It's got like... It's hard to show you with the camera the way this is. But it has this map and everything. Oh, this is the poster. I do have the poster. There were two maps, I believe, with this game. I am missing the second one. I thought I was missing the one that had the poster on it. I'm actually missing the second one. Steam is best version. Was there a game you wanted played but never owned? Phil Panzer Dragoon Saga. To this day, I want a copy of that game. I have played it. I have beaten it. I absolutely love it. I'm putting the game back, and I haven't even opened it. But I absolutely love it. And because of the price, it is now inaccessible to me. Unfortunately, that is a reality. It is inaccessible to me. Chrono Triggered. Let's see here. Hold on. I'm going to make sure that I don't... Hold on. There you go. I have a quick one about the Spyro HD thing. The game never released in PAL region until the DS version. How big was Chrono Cross back in the day? Chrono Cross was actually not very big. Chrono Cross was big for the people who loved Chrono Trigger, but I don't remember a lot of people outside of the Chrono Trigger fan base who were super excited about it. People were happy to play an RPG. I mean, but it was never like, oh my God, this game. It was always just kind of like, oh yeah, Chrono Cross, that's actually a pretty good game. Oh, how big was Chrono Trigger? Oh, damn it, some more of that stuff. We had a problem. All the battery games that I have, the batteries seem to have leaked. They're corroded. They still work, but the batteries have done this thing to them. Other than that, everything looks pretty good. It just needs a good wipe down. Chrono Trigger was kind of big. It wasn't very well known, especially since Final Fantasy was a thing, but people who played it absolutely loved it. Damn it looks so bad. You can see it. Yeah, it's hard to see with the lighting the way it is. I think I need to I now that this is going to be part of the show, I think I need to rethink my lighting just so that I can have it be a little bit more conducive to all of this. I think that's the right word. I think that's the word I'm looking for. But yeah, you can see all of this like dust and battery crud that's on here. I like Chrono Trigger better than Final Fantasy VI. That was always the big argument back then between the RPG fans, which one was better. I've talked about that before, where my experience with Chrono Trigger was one of the guys that I hung out with, he loved Chrono Trigger, and I loved Final Fantasy VI. So we would always argue about which one we thought was better. And then one day we finally realized that we've never actually played the other one. So we traded. We brought our physical copies in, because that was what you did back then. And we brought our copies into school, and we traded for a couple of weeks. And we each fell in love with the other game. Chrono do SNES cards have special face. Yeah, this bit is the one that you use to open up NES games, SNES games, I believe Genesis games, and I think somebody said N64 games. Is it dry cotton swab you're using? Yeah, that's just a dry swab. I'm just getting the dust off. You can use alcohol for this stuff. I use 91% alcohol. That stuff evaporates really quick, doesn't leave a lot of residue. So that's the best way to go. I generally try, I personally would probably try not to. There's probably no danger in it, but that's just me. I do use it for the connections, obviously, so it's not like I think it's completely dangerous or anything. I hate this the most because these little pins stick up and they eat your cotton swabs alive. Strong stuff. Don't drink it. Yeah, it does open NES game. Are they hex heads? Yes. The hex heads with those little divots in each side. That very specific Nintendo or electronics. Don't get into my electronics device screws. All right. That's all right. These connectors are actually super duper clean. So we'll give these connectors a quick wipe down. But yeah, if you guys have never played this game, this is one of the ultimate classic RPGs. Do you ever think of Olive Garden? Oh, whenever you see something green. No, I don't think of Olive Garden. I think of Olive Garden whenever I see breadsticks, because Olive Garden's breadsticks are just better. Okay. One of the things I always do with these, whenever I wipe this stuff down, it doesn't leave a lot of residue, but I do still wipe it with a dry Q-tip, a dry side to a Q-tip, just to get if there is any residue, I like to get that off of there. Oh my God, the Q-tip got you off. All right. And these batteries didn't explode. I remember last time we did this, we thought that the batteries had exploded and that they were just not going to work anymore, and the games still worked. Let's get that out of there. I'm going to clean the inside too, get a lot of this gunk out of there, because when that battery does that, it leaves that stuff all over the place. Best thing about this, I always kind of worried that, you know, one day I worry about the idea of paying a lot for a game and buying a bootleg game. If my plan is to go buy an expensive game, I usually try and bring my bit with me so that I can open it while I'm there. But the best thing about this is that a lot of these games came from a time long before anybody bootlegged games. So I'm extremely confident that all my games are good. Oh, Dr. Kiss, can they open game? I believe they do. I believe they do open Game Boy games. I think the thing with Game Boy games is that there's only one screw though, so it's actually super easy. All right, so let's get that in there. If you are worried about doing this yourself, don't worry. My biggest concern was that I was going to put the chips in backwards and it was going to break when I tried to play them. They're grooved a certain way so that you can't put them in wrong. That was my biggest concern when I first did this the very first time. Greg, you mean Mystic Quest? Mystic Quest, greatest RPG ever. I'm sorry, Mystic Quest, the greatest Final Fantasy game ever. Have you watched LGR's videos on how to preserve clean big box PC games? I think it was still applied to NES boxes, but my oh, that's interesting. I didn't know. I didn't know that anybody had done a video on preserving the boxes, because that is kind of important to me. I do have a lot of boxes, and I have a lot of humidity in this room. It's funny, that is the fancy rich thing that I would do. You know those people that have like humidors and stuff. I would love a room that is humidity and temperature controlled to keep all my video games in. All right, so let's see here. See if this is working. Oh wait, hold on. All right, it's working. I forgot to bring up my capture card image. Hold on, let's make sure that this is working. All right. Yeah, as Sage enters the room. Oh wait, hang on. That was what I forgot to do. I know you're initializing the capture card. Come on, switch over. Switch over. S video. Oh, actually no. Actually, wait. Are you S video? Yeah, okay. Buddy! Hi. Say hi to everybody. Okay, but I can't let you up here. Hold on. My favorite game. I recently got some old GB games, and I give them a good cleaning. Plenty of people have made repro cards. Oh, yeah, nowadays. How long did it take you to realize that gaming is a hobby? I have been gaming since I was 5 years old, and that's not actually an exaggeration. I literally mean playing Atari 2600 when I was 5 years old. Does Sage have any advice for us at the moment? Yeah, give me treats is always Sage's advice. Okay, so that's good. All right, so this is working. Oh man, it's so weird to see it without the animated intro. I've played it on PS1 and DS so much that I haven't watched this intro in forever. Sage smells the alcohol. Yeah, I think that's why he left. Elgato's a bit of a pain to get working. No, the Elgato was fine. It just I didn't actually turn it on. The Elgato works well enough if you turn it on, which I didn't do. Okay. Oh, and guess what I've got to drink? Smurf blood. I used to drink the Smurf blood. I drink it now again. Oh man, my cat is saying the same thing. All right. So this is working. I kind of want to just let the intro play. The PS1 version, the load times in bad. Yeah, the load times were... they were some work. Well, you know what happened? I have the PS1, the small white PS1 with the screen. And that was the only way I could play the game portably. I'm drinking cleaning. Yeah, it does kind of look like I'm drinking Windex. What is that, Greg? Did you drink bleach? No, I buy these. The Kool-Aid liquid. Like you add it to the bottled water. You add a squeeze of it to the bottled water and it tastes like juice. Apparently N64 games are easy to open, but they have an extra layer of metal plating that you have to carefully... Yeah, if you look in where the cartridge slot is... Do I have an N64 game near me? No. If you look inside where the cartridge slot is, you can actually see there's like a metal grounding plate or something. Like it's molded into the plastic, but I think it comes off when you take the game apart. Yeah, the PS1 has the animated intro, and the DS version is basically the PS1 version without all of the frame issues. Because that was the biggest problem with the PS1, was that for some reason there were like the animations were like skipping frames. It's the squeezy squash bottle. Yeah, you know, Elements. I don't know if you were here, if you were watching when I did it. There was a day where I actually drank one of these. Like I put a squirt in. I hate to say it that way because it sounds gross, but I put a squirt in my mouth And yeah, wow, that is an intense flavor. I don't know. Clean an N64 game didn't come right out. Oh, it didn't come right out. Okay, I've heard that it's always kind of loosely in there. Next game is Contra 3. Unfortunately, all the good games are at the beginning, and then we're going to end up with two kind of dumb games. But they are games that need cleaning. So if I have any games that are trash, it's going to be those. I think all I have is the cartridge. Is the cartridge in the box. I don't have the manual for this game. I saw the start of one, though, but missed the one cleaning screen. Okay. All right. So this is Contra 3. One of my favorite run and guns. I can't wait for trash. Yeah, I wonder if people would just enjoy the trash games better. Okay. Look at how tiny it is. Whenever you get to the non-battery powered games, they're so tiny. All right. So the case could probably use a little cleaning. We'll clean that. Worst SNES games I've ever played. I'm gonna. Oh, you know what? No, I think it's just called FX. This game, one game that's coming up, Dirt Tracks FX, is kind of not good. I don't know. I can't think of anything. Do I? I probably own it. I do. Comcast. Capcom MVP Football is pretty freaking awful. Chips were originally meant for Super Famicom carts. Well, the Super Famicom carts are the same size. Yeah, I have. Of course, they're not in arm's reach. I have Super Famicom carts. They're the same size. The Famicom to NES are the ones that are ridiculously small. Oh, you know what? While we have time, when I do have some time, I do want to check something out here. I want to see if any of my NES games. I'm gonna test one of my NES games. Save the best trash to last. The NES games. There's a gag with some of the NES games that they have Famicom. Oh, excuse me, Famicom converters in there. I want to see if one of my games has one of those converters in it. It's the NES Famicoms that are different. Yeah, the NES are extremely small. The thing with the NES cartridges is that when they made them back then, they wanted people to feel like they were getting their money's worth. That's the legend. So they decided, because remember, they used to market video games as toys. So they decided to make the games bigger so that when people bought them, they would think that they were getting something worthwhile, because you were asking people to spend $20 and $30 back then for a game, for one of many, because it wasn't like you bought it and that was the only thing you needed. You had to buy the system. There were multiple games. So they wanted people to feel like they were getting their money's worth, so they made them bigger. Ever played bad N64 game? I've played many bad N64 games. I was not a gigantic fan of the N64. There were games that I enjoyed, but I was never a huge fan of the system. American Video Game Crash. Yeah, because the American Video Game Crash, yeah, they wanted to make them bigger. And Superman 64 doesn't count. Well, that's not fair. Yeah, you're removing what is already the worst game. What you're asking me for is my second worst. In all honesty, it's hard to just not name sports games whenever I think about bad games like that. Just because I was never a huge fan of sports games, especially the early sports games like Madden 64 and stuff. They were terrible. Yes, yeah. Back in the day, they thought size mattered. Well, that's the problem. Back in the day, size did matter. Bigger meant better, and they knew that. That's why I could sit here and I could complain that Nintendo did that, but really it's the consumer market that did that. The consumer market is what made them think, oh well, it needs to be large for us to be into it. You can use a little bit of alcohol to clean labels. Don't use anything more corrosive than that. And for for laminated labels, if the label doesn't look like it's laminated, or if the lamination looks really weak, don't bother, because it'll rub the image right off. I almost did that with a Smash Brothers for the N64 once. So other than the Wii U, N64 is trash compared to the NES. I don't think it's trash, but I can say in all honesty that there were not a lot of N64 games that I was a gigantic fan of. Quest 64 was pretty bad. Famicoms were like cassettes. NES were like 8-track. Yeah, exactly. Even though 8-tracks were great. I loved 8-tracks. But Superman 64 is cheating. No, Superman 64 isn't cheating. Superman 64 is taking the easy way out. And there's a Madden game. Oh, there are a few Madden games on the N64. The first one was actually called Madden 64. And I think it was Madden 98? I forget which one it was. But yeah, there were a few Madden games on the 64. Whoosh. I mean, the same could be said of the American car. Yeah. Yeah, American car industry was the same way. American everything industry was the same way. That's why I don't hold it against video game companies, because every American industry was the same way. What's your opinion on the GameCube? That I think the GameCube was great, but I do think that it was underutilized. I think that there was a lot of potential in the GameCube that was untapped. Okay. Oh, I forgot to check Chrono Trigger. I wanted to check to see if my save files were still there. This is Contra. Woo! It is. John Madden. Play a little. Whoops. I'm using the 6-button controller, and I don't really. I only ever use this controller for fighting games. Okay. Yeah. It works. What about the Wii, shovelware and all? The Wii was a fun gimmick, and I very much enjoyed the Wii, but I think they focused too much on the gimmick. I think system-wise, it should have been very decent. It was a very decent system, but I think they focused too much on the gimmick, and I think they did the same thing with the DS. Question about the NES, since it's there. Yellow plastic ink. What is caused by? My friend wants to get one. I think it's just caused by time. I think just exposure to the air and everything caused it. Later models had like cheap plastic or something. That was always the rumor, that it was cheap plastic that did it. Supposedly there is a way to clean that off now, but I don't know. It's almost charming in a way. Red Falcon doesn't sound like an alien name. Red Falcon sounds like the name of the person who's sent to destroy the aliens. But yeah, as far as the yellowing, I think it's just like humidity and air. Our local game shop had 2 NESs for sale. The more yellowed one cost more, but the person said there might have been a fitting issue. A filing issue? Oh, okay, and the label should have been swapped. Some places charge less for the yellow ones. When you get into the really, really hardcore collectors and stuff, you'll get into like one chip. If you look up like 1-chip systems and 2-chip systems, yeah, filing issue. I was gonna say like a filling issue. That and 75% of the Wii's gaming library. Oh yeah, but it was easy to avoid the shovelware on most systems is usually pretty easy to identify. This is a personal favorite of mine. This is Darius Twin. Great shooter. Above middle of the road, but nothing, super duper spectacular. But I absolutely love the soundtrack of that game. It's such a great soundtrack. It's such catchy music. Darius Twin. There was other notable entries include Darius Gaiden on the Saturn. I believe it was Darius Gaiden in Japan, and it was G Darius in the US, I think. There was another Darius game on the Super Nintendo called Supernova. and just Supernova, not Darius Supernova. And the Genesis had a game called Sagaya that was also a Darius game. Did you start gaming age through joysticks and gamepads, or can you play your NES title? I started my gaming with Atari 2600, so I started with a joystick. When I switched over to the NES, and obviously it had a gamepad, I never really looked back to joysticks. I personally don't like joysticks at home because I am heavy-handed. So when I play with joysticks, what happens is the joystick moves around a lot. I need something that's weighted down. I absolutely love arcade joysticks, but when it comes to home consoles, I have a hard time playing with joysticks, especially the Neo Geo, because for some reason their joysticks are very light, and I move them around. So like I said, I'm very heavy-handed. But I love arcades because arcades are pretty much locked in place. I would love an arcade quality, like arcade built with arcade parts, home joystick. But they are expensive. Is Mystic Quest underrated and overhated? Or overhated? I believe, CT, I believe it is both. I believe it is underrated and overhated. More overhated than underrated. Because it was exactly what people say. It was baby's first RPG. But there's nothing wrong with baby's first RPG. Ham-handed. It's meme hated. It's okay at best. If it's Gaiden, then it would be a spin-off game. Well, yeah. The Saturn games were, I think, the 4th or 5th in the series, actually. Did you ever have Rocks? I have a Virtual Boy now. I actually have a Virtual Boy now. I finally got one a couple of years ago at Too Many Games. I've wanted one for a long time. Then now the problem is buying games for it. Did you ever have a go on a 5200 or just a 26? I have a 26, a 52, and a 78. I have played all three of them, and I like all three of them. But I do like the 26 more just because it's a bigger library and the system itself is more accessible. There is a lot of nostalgia with that, though. Baby's first GTA. Little music. Hear the music. I'm not even going to play it. Just hear the music. I love the soundtrack of this game. I have to see if Darius for Saturn got released over here. I know it did. Do you have the Odyssey? Yes, I do, Rocks. I have the Odyssey 2. I don't have any of the first model Odysseys. I had a chance to buy one and lost the opportunity to do so. Pokemon is the more socially acceptable baby's first RPG. Yeah, nowadays, yeah. I would definitely start a kid on Mystic Quest to get some of the fundamentals out of the way in a very caring, not super serious game. And again, the music for that game is actually really good. For Mystic Quest we're talking about. All right. I got 2 more games here. And here comes the garbage. But because they are garbage, they do need to be cleaned. Desert Strike. Now, the Strike series is not in itself awful. It is actually an okay series. But it has not aged well. These games did not age well at all. They are very, very notably old games. I got these games. I got this one, the next one that you're going to see, and a bunch of others in a lot that I had won. I forget what game there was that was in it, but it was 8 games. Most of them had the boxes. Some of them had the instructions. This, and I forget what the other one was, were like the best of the games. $20. It was $20 with free shipping for all 8 games. And like I said, most of them had the boxes and all. When I got them, half of them had mold in the boxes. Most of them I threw out the white trays that come with them because the games were moldy. I might have cleaned the connectors on these, but I never opened them up. So I'm kind of super nervous about what I'm going to find. I never got into the Genesis version of Desert Strike. Genesis version was the first one I played, but I did play the Super Nintendo ones later. Oh yeah, when I cleaned Darius, look at what came off. Look at how you can see it looks darker in person than it does on camera. So that should tell you something. Was it no elements? No, it was like humidity mold. Like they were sitting in someone's basement for a while. I think they had said something about they used to own a rental store, and it was like the last of their games that they were getting rid of. But yeah, they were like mold. Like yeah, I opened them up and I put on plastic bags on my hands because I didn't have any gloves to touch them. And then I threw out the white trays and cleaned out some of the I think I threw out a couple of boxes, but most of them it was confined to the white trays. Kelvin the kid, what's going on? And hello to anybody else that has showed up since the beginning. I just haven't been noticing that. I never heard of mold grow. Not on the games themselves. It was on the boxes and stuff. But that stuff, it leaves residue, and that's what got into the games. No, that's dirty. There we go. Gonna get dirty. It's about time to change that Q-tip. Okay. Jeremy, would you clean and fix my Game Boy Pokemon games and replace the bat? I don't know how to replace. Well, I know how to replace the batteries. My soldering skills are not super up to snuff. What is the best game on the Game Boy and Game Boy Color? It's tough to say. This is Darius Twin, yes. It's tough to say. I mean, the Pokemon games are obviously really good. I was a huge fan of Nemesis, which was a first generation Game Boy game. And the Ninja Turtles game on Game Boy was actually really good. These plastics are okay. Yeah, I don't think this was one of the water. There were some sports games in there, like NBA games. I think they were the ones that had the mold primarily in them, and then the other ones were next to them. Yeah, I mean Pokemon Crystal. I loved Link's Awakening. I thought that was a fantastic game. I thought it was better than the other two Zelda games. Mario Land 2, Kirby. I played Kirby so much. I played so much Kirby. I used to sit in the back of Spanish class. And this is probably why the only thing I learned in Spanish class is Vamos a la Playa. But I used to sit in the back of Spanish class near where the outlet was, plug up my Game Boy, and play Kirby. And Final Fantasy Legends. Yeah, there was Final Fantasy Legends 1, 2, and 3. I think I have Final Fantasy Adventure. Yeah, but I don't have any of the Legends games. Here's some trivia for you. Final Fantasy Adventure on the Game Boy was actually a different game. They let you do... No, CT, they didn't let me do that, but I did it. Again, probably why I don't know much Spanish. Final Fantasy Adventure was another game that was released over in America as Final Fantasy Adventure. What game was it? All right, that works. Desert Strike sucks. Been a while since I've seen the old Electronics art logo. What about Resident Evil Gaiden? Never played it. Never played Resident Evil on the Game Boy Color. Look, I don't even have a white tray for it. I heard it's worse than Resident Evil. I always heard it was good though. Final Fantasy Adventure is a Mana game. Mana. Which one? Which one? Come on. It's easy. That's an easy one though. You got Secret of Evermore? Yes, I do. I finally picked up Secret of Evermore because I've had the box and the manual for it for a very long time, and now I finally have the game. Okay, this is the last trash game. This is this game is rough. Dirt Tracks FX, but I don't think it's an FX chip game. I think it just says FX. Yep, Adventure is Mana 1. The last of the trash. What Tiger Electronics game? I have no Tiger Electronics games. I wouldn't mind them. Seiken Densetsu. There you go. I was waiting for somebody to actually say it that way. Seiken Densetsu 1. That is Final Fantasy Adventure. Look, there's there's these weird markings from the trade and play. Wow, this is amazing. Trade and play video games in Paris. What is TN? Tennessee? I guess that's where they came from. we got these weird markings, which are like, it's like red ink. You've got red on you. Why I got a red stripe? I don't know. Maybe it is a. Maybe it's martial arts. Somebody mentioned a martial arts belts. One of them with a red stripe. This is a red stripe martial arts. This cartridge has been to karate. Definitely. Look, that stuff doesn't even totally come off. Good thing I don't care about this game. All right, so let's move on. Let's move on to something we can help. I did. Oh, I'm sorry, Elements. I'm sorry. I didn't say that you said that. Oh, what game? That game has seen some years. Oh, yeah. I like that game. Trade and play. Yeah, it's coated in the blood of its enemies. All right, let's see if we can at least get this void sticker off. Or void sticker residue. Who knows? I'm pretty sure I tested all of these games to make sure that they're at least the games that they say. Who knows? Maybe this is a copy of Metal Warriors or something. Something expensive. Maybe the plan was to hide their copy in one of these cheap cartridges, and then they lost track of it. Get this void crap off. It looks like it's marking. Yeah, that's all it was. Void the void sticker. All right, so that's the void. I mean, the alcohol takes off the sticker residue. Again, I used to use lighter fluid. The lighter fluid you get for your Zippo lighter. I used to use that for this, and it actually worked better. The sticker residue is coming off, but the lighter fluid was like, you'd one wipe and it would all come right off. All right. Are there any retro video game stores? There are a few, but nothing really super spectacular that I'm aware of. If there is, I just have never seen them. Yeah, that wasn't even saved this time. Yeah, but it sounds more flammable. Yeah, it's not. I mean, it's not like I'm putting the lighter fluid on there and then setting it on fire. Which I can't tell you how many times I used to tell people that I use lighter fluid, and I swear that's what they thought. Like, you set your games on fire? Like, somebody actually said that to me once. You set your games on fire? Like, no. Why would you think that? More online and Yeah, I have one retro store. I have a retro store that I used to go to, but the guy was a jerk. He had tons of inventory, though. He sold to another retro store. So now when I do go to that store, they are actually super decent and knowledgeable. The problem is that the place where it is horrible parking. I will actively not go somewhere if the parking situation is bad. And the parking situation at that place is terrible. All right, I kind of want to open this up. I'm excited to open this up because I don't know if it is an actual FX game or if it just says FX in it. Because if it's an actual FX game, it should have the chip in it. Oh, no problem, Fayero. Have a good one. Hopefully you're still here in time for me to say that. All right, yeah, I think this is an actual FX. Yes, it is. Yeah, look at that. This is an actual FX game. What the hell? What is that? Has anybody ever seen that? Is that an FX chip thing? There's like a metal, I don't know, like a connector there. Is that a grounding connector? I've never seen that. I know we have a local retro store, and he's basically a jerk. Yeah, the whole shop is basically a store. Yeah, I don't ever like that. I don't like going to places like that. Yeah, this is the FX chip right here. This is Dirt Trax FX. Yeah, I don't think now that I think about it, I don't think I actually said that. Yeah, Dirt Trax FX. But I wasn't sure because normally the FX games have the FX game logo on them, and this one didn't, so I wasn't sure if it was an actual FX chip game. But it does. It just started raining super hard here. So just in case the stream gets disconnected, it's probably that this time. Yeah, it's like a grounding plate or something. That's interesting. All right. All right. So love the one down here. My friend is at uni. He does deals. He'll fix your game systems. Yeah, the best place that we have is a place called Classic Game Junkie, but they are 45 minutes away from me. And again, the parking situation there is not great, but that is an amazing store. They actually go to Too Many Games every year. I don't think they normally set up a shop or a booth, but they do like hand out flyers and stuff. And a lot of people who go to Too Many Games just know them. Okay, let's get the other side clean here. I might know why it has a grounding plate. It's because it has more chips, so it will be heavier. It needs more support. Yeah, maybe. Is that what I'm hearing? Yeah, it just started raining a little while ago. Did your copy of Star Fox have mounting plate? I haven't gotten there. I'm going in alphabetical order. So I haven't actually gotten there yet, and I've never opened. I've only ever opened, other than the ones that I've opened on the show so far, I opened my Dracula X. When I first got the bit, I actually opened some of my more expensive games just to finally take a look at them and make sure, even though Dracula X, again, I got so long ago, there's no way that it was a bootleg. But I mostly just kind of wanted to see. But other than that, yeah, when we get there, we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, I've never opened up anything other than the ones that I've opened up on the show so far, which is it's going super slow just because we're going to be doing this once a week, and it looks like we can only fit in about 5 games. So I don't know. I may have other streams where I decide to do this. So that grounding plate actually goes right here. There's a metal plate for it. I'm trying to see if it connects to anything else. It's like this whole area right here. I mean, I'm not like super electronics science guy, but it looks like a big giant area. I think it's a grounding plate. I think it's a grounding plate just to protect the chip. If I had to fathom a guess, I would say that that's what it is. Is it a quiet storm? No, it's pretty noisy if you can hear it. I mean, it can be a quiet storm later. It is Friday after all. You know, it's funny. One day I was in 8th grade. I went to a trade and play with my friend because I was looking for Conker's Bad Fur Day, and I saw Superman 64 in the bargain bin. Ugh. Poor Superman 64. All right, here we go. We're gonna test this out. Yeah, I think it might actually just be a grounding plate just to prevent surges from the FX chip. All right, let's take a look at this trash. All right, we're gonna play this trash. Here we go. Oh, the pumping music though. What the hell? It actually doesn't look that bad. We're playing trash? It looks like an Atari Jaguar game, which speaks, I don't know if that speaks well. There we go. Totally not riffing Knight Rider. It doesn't actually look too bad for a Super Nintendo game. Let's go to 125cc. Oh boy, here we go. Who are we gonna? Oh man, I suppose this guy looks a bit like me. All right, let's just do training. We'll just do training. Single race. Oh, the big O. Oh. Okay. Oh man, it is stiff controls. Woo! Oh, no, I wasn't actually controlling that. Oh, yeah, hold on. Dude, this is actually not... It controls pretty well. Woohoo! Oh, okay, you can do... There we go. Woohoo! You can do wheelies. You can angle into the jumps. It's like... Whoa! What the hell? Hold on. Let's see if we can do that again. See if we can do that again. What did he do? He went up here. Oh, he went off of the track. Get on the track. Get on the track. I can't. I don't have a jump button. There we go. Yeah. Get. Wow. I don't know what that was. Dude, this is actually not that awful. I mean, you know, for the time. Oh, it makes that noise every time you gain ground on somebody. No, get on the Hydra's back. Oh, I'm like lapping people. Okay, hold on. Can I use the shoulder buttons to... Oh, I think I can use the shoulder buttons to make sharper turns. Yeah, holy crap. Yes, I can. I'm in the fountain. Dude, I'm second. Yeah, it really isn't the worst game. Where the hell is the dude in first? No, I know. What are you talking about? I'm back. This will be SGB. This will be SGB weekend one day. Wow, it really isn't the worst game ever. I'll be honest with you. I don't know when it's supposed to end. Like, I feel like it should have ended by now. Oh, last lap, last lap. Oh, second place. Rip those horn sound effects and use it for something. It just never ends. Yeah, I know that it's hard for you guys to see, but like it really wasn't that bad of a game. Yeah, hog. Hold on. Let me see something here. Hold on. Yeah, see, kind of looks like me, right? All right, we'll leave it there. Hogs, you man. All right, so let's turn that down a little bit. That'll be the outro music. All right, so we'll get out of studio mode. And okay. thank you guys so much for joining me. Thank you for joining the viewer topics section. Just give them glasses. And watching me clean some games. I don't know how interesting or not interesting that is, but I don't know. Everybody always seems to get a kick out of that, and I like going through all of my games and sort of checking them all out and thinking about each one of them and any history that I may have with them. That's going to do it for this week's show. Again, thank you for stopping in. If you are watching this on YouTube and this is the second part, be sure to go back and click the first part. We had a very interesting discussion today about Fortnite tutoring and Evo tournaments and stuff like that. I thought it was very interesting. If you're watching this right now, for everybody that's watching right now, just stick around after the credits or after the end card, and we'll rate somebody else. But for YouTube, thank you guys so much. Have an amazing night, and have a great weekend, or have a great whatever is coming up, depending on when you watch this. And we will see you next time, hopefully.